Have you ever heard someone say they have a gut feeling? Well, what if your gut really is doing the thinking? What if the key to improving mental health and treating depression isn't in your brain, but in your butt? Okay, not exactly your butt, more like your gut. But that's where this gets weird and wonderful. So, my sister's in medical school and she wants to be a psychiatrist. One day we were talking about interesting things we'd learned in school, and the topic of the microbiome came up. She got really excited and told me, Carrie, in the future, I might be prescribing happy poop to people with depression. Being the nerd that I am, I responded with equal excitement. But I know what you're thinking. Ew, happy poop? What's that? But here's why this is so exciting to scientists. What she's actually talking about is fecal microbiota transplants, basically taking the healthy bacteria from one person's poop and putting it into someone else's gut. And don't worry, this doesn't involve actually eating poop. It could be as simple as taking a pill that's been loaded with freeze dried bacteria, kind of like a probiotic. This has been approved for treating patients with chronic C. diff infections, which is a diarrheal disease. But can it do more? It sounds gross, but it might just change lives. And as I'm sure all of you know, depression is a huge problem. Over 280 million people worldwide live with depression. And every year, more than 785,000 people die by suicide. And the treatments we have, they help, but not always. You see, antidepressants are tricky. You often have to try different ones, adjust doses, deal with side effects, and even then, they don't work for everyone. Brain chemistry is incredibly complex, and it can be frustrating for patients suffering with depression or other mental health issues, and for the doctors who are trying to help their patients but don't have better options to prescribe them. But maybe we're looking in the wrong place. As mentioned previously, fecal microbiota transplants have been used to treat diarrheal infections, and they're being studied for other GI disorders as well. In one study, they noticed that people who had gotten a fecal microbiota transplant for IBS, not mental health, showed reduced depression and anxiety symptoms. This wasn't what they were trying to fix, but it did anyway. And this got researchers curious. Can fecal microbiota transplant be used to treat depression and other mental health issues? In a recent study, for the first time ever, researchers treated two patients with major depressive disorder with a fecal microbiota transplant, and both of them felt better. Their depression scores improved, and the effects lasted up to 8 weeks. Even years after the one-time treatment, one participant emphasized that one of her major treatment milestones was that fecal microbiota transplant. A few months ago, another study was published that further solidified this link between the microbiome and depression. In this study, scientists transplanted gut bacteria from depressed humans into rats. And the rats started acting depressed, losing interest in sugar water, avoiding social contact. So we know for sure that gut bacteria can affect behavior even in animals. But how does this work? So it turns out there's a connection between your brain and your gut called the gut-brain axis. Your gut has its own nervous system connected to your brain by the vagus nerve, and it can affect mood and behavior. For example, some gut bacteria produce neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, which are both known to help regulate mood and give you feelings of happiness and pleasure. Other bacteria are involved in regulating cortisol levels and inflammation, and could contribute to feelings of stress and anxiety. So, as you see, there are some bacteria that we would really like to have in our gut, and some that are a little less desirable. In people with depression, their gut bacteria look different from those of healthy people because they have an imbalance of some of these good and bad microbes. And this is where fecal microbiota transplant comes in. If we change someone's gut to have more of the good bacteria and less of the bad bacteria that are causing depression symptoms, maybe we can cure their depression. So imagine a future where, instead of juggling medications, your doctor prescribes a short regimen of happy poop pills from a healthy donor, and it actually works. A real physical reboot of your gut that helps your brain feel better too. Of course, we have to be careful. There's still a lot we don't know. Altered gut microbiomes are linked to a host of other diseases, not just depression, and therefore fecal microbiota transplantation comes with some risks. Could we be curing depression, but also introduce the potential for some other disease or negative side effects? We need more research, more trials, and more time. But imagine what this could mean for mental health. For millions of people who are suffering, just maybe, relief could come from the most unexpected place. So the next time someone tells you, trust your gut, remember, your gut might just know how to make you happy. Thank you.